You just replanted 30 pots of annuals back in May. Half of them are already dead, and it's only August. The average United States household spends $616 a year on lawn and garden. And most of that flower color quits before Labor Day. Today I'm going to show you 15 perennials that bloom from Memorial Day all the way to first frost. The same spot, every single year. Less work each season, not more. Every plant on this list carries a trial credential. Royal Horticultural Society Award of Garden Merit. Mount Cuba Top Performer Ratings. Perennial Plant of the Year. This isn't a TikTok list. It's evidence-backed, USDA zone-calibrated and pet safety flagged with the ASPCA database. Here's the question I want you to hold on to. Can a single flower bed truly bloom for 5 months in a row in the same spot while you do less work each year, not more? Stay with me. Number 1 on this list got the highest honor the Royal Horticultural Society has ever given a plant. Here's how the next 20 minutes will go. First, the 4 ranking axes are used because this isn't a prettiness contest, it's a continuous bloom contest. Then, a fast countdown from number 15 down to number 6. 10 regional swappables you'll personalize by your zone and soil. Then, we'll deep dive the top 5 backbone plants. These 5 alone can stitch together a 5-month bloom calendar in zones 5 through 7. And we'll close with the 3 lazy gardener levers that turn this list into a system. Stay until number 1. It blooms 4 to 5 months from a single plant in zones 5 through 8. The Royal Horticultural Society named it Plant of the Centenary in 2013, the highest honor they've ever given. Quick word on how I ranked these. Continuous bloom window is weighted 50%. How many months of color, not just how pretty. Trial credentials is 20%. RHS, Mount Cuba, Perennial Plant of the Year. Lazy lever compatibility is 20%. Does the plant respond to the 3 little tricks I'll show you at the end? Regional adaptability is 10%. How widely it works across United States zones 3 through 9. All right, number 15, and these first 5 are regional finishes and shade options. Pick the ones that fit your spot. Persicaria amplexicaulis. Firetail. Royal Horticultural Society Award of Garden Merit. Hardiness zones 4 through 7. Crimson bottlebrush flowers from July straight through October. If you garden in the Pacific Northwest, the Mid-Atlantic, or anywhere with moist, cool soil, this is your vertical accent. Number 14. Lobelia cardinalis. Cardinal flower. Native across the lower 48, zones 3 through 9. Scarlet spikes from late July into September, and hummingbirds will fight over it. This is one of 2 plants on the list that breaks lever 3. It likes wet feet. Plant it in the low, damp spot you usually curse. Number 13. Astilbe, visions in pink, zones 4 through 8. Pink feathery plumes, June into July. This one's your shade option, and like Lobelia, it wants consistent moisture, never dry. If you've got a partly shaded corner you've been writing off, Astilbe earns its keep. Number 12. Helianthus, lemon queen. Royal Horticultural Society AGM, zones 4 through 9. Lemon yellow daisies, July through September, on 6 to 8 foot stems. This is your late-season back-of-border backbone. Pollinators love it, and goldfinches will sit on the spent heads through winter if you leave the stems standing. Number 11. Phlox paniculata, Jeana. And I want you to remember this one because Mount Cuba Center rated it 4.8 out of 5. The top score in their entire Phlox trial. Zones 3 through 8. Lavender pink clusters, mid-July through September. And here's the part most people don't know. Jeana is mildew-free. If you've ever lost a garden phlox to powdery mildew, this is the one. Halfway through the regional swappables. The next 5, numbers 10 through 6, are mid-pack workhorses and early fall anchors. Number 10. Hemerocallis, happy returns. Daylily, zones 3 through 9. Lemon yellow rebloomer from June through September. The lazy gardener's secret is true deadheading. Every couple of days during peak bloom, snap off the spent flower with the little ovary right behind it, not just the petals. Keeps blooms coming until frost. Important. Daylilies are safe for dogs, but true lilium, the Asiatic and Oriental lilies, are associated with acute kidney failure in cats. If you have a cat, double-check the genus before you plant. Source on that is ASPCA Poison Control. Number 9. Achillea, Moonshine. Yarrow, Royal Horticultural Society AGM, zones 3 through 9. Lemon yellow flat-top flowers June through August, with a light September flush. This is your swap if you garden hot and dry. Plains, Midwest, Southwest. The trick is lean soil. Don't pamper it. Compost and fertilizer make Achillea flop. Number 8. Sedum, Herbstfreude, commonly sold as autumn joy. RHS AGM, zones 3 through 9. Soft pink in July, deepening to bronze red by October. Your late-season closer. Lazy gardener secret. The Chelsea chop. In late May, cut back the front half of the clump by about 1/3. Leave the back half alone. The Royal Horticultural Society's Sedum trial showed this gives you a bushier habit that doesn't flop. And the chopped half blooms about 2 weeks later, so the same plant flowers across a longer window. Number 7. Echinacea, Cheyenne Spirit. Coneflower, zones 4 through 9. Mixed warm tones, coral, orange, gold, red, from late June into September. This is a swap for the plains and mid-Atlantic, where summers run hot. And don't deadhead the very last flush. Leave the seed head standing through winter. Goldfinches and chickadees will work them for weeks. And you'll be applying lazy lever 2, which we'll get to. Number 6. Agastache, Blue Fortune, Anise Hyssop, zones 5 through 9. Dusky lavender blue bottle brush spikes, July through October. Dusky lavender blue bottle brush spikes, July through October. Hummingbird and bumblebee magnet. Best swap if you garden hot, dry interior, west or mid-Atlantic. Leave the stems standing through winter. That pithy, hollow stem is bee habitat, and we'll explain why in 3 minutes. Quick pause. If you've made it this far, drop your USDA zone in the comments. I'll match it with the right combo from the top 5 backbone plants we're about to see. And these next 5 are the ones with the biggest trial credentials. One of them holds the highest honor the Royal Horticultural Society has ever given. Quick reminder, Pet safety notes use the ASPCA poison control database. If you've got dogs, cats or grandkids running through the garden, double-check Daylily, Pelargonium and Lobelia in particular. Top 5. Backbone. If you only planted these 5, properly spaced in zones 5 through 7, you'd have continuous colour from May to frost on a single front border. Let's count down. Number 5. Salvia nemorosa, Maynite. Perennial Plant of the Year, 1997, zones 4 through 8. Deep violet-blue spikes from late May into early July. Full sun, well-drained soil, 12 to 18 inches apart. Plant in spring or fall. Here's the lazy gardener's secret. As soon as the first flush starts fading, petals going dull, before any seed heads form, cut the plant back by about a third. The Chicago Botanic Gardens Salvia trial showed this releases a second flush of buds 4 to 8 weeks later in zones 5 through 7. The second wave runs smaller than the first, but you get August and September colour out of the same plant. ASPCA listed non-toxic, pet safe. Number 4. Rudbeckia, American Gold Rush, Perennial Plant of the Year, 2023, zones 4 through 9. Golden yellow daisies with dark cones, from July all the way to first frost. Full sun, average soil, 18 to 24 inches apart. 2 things make this one a backbone plant. First, the Perennial Plant Association tested it specifically against Septoria leaf spot, the disease that wrecks the old goldstem black-eyed Susan. American Gold Rush carries strong resistance, though no plant is fully immune in an unusually wet, humid summer. Second, leave the seed heads. Don't cut it back in fall. Goldfinches will work the seeds through winter, and per the Tufts Pollinator Initiative, roughly 30% of New England native bees nest inside hollow and pithy stems. Cut to 8 to 24 inches in spring, not autumn. Pet safe per ASPCA. Number 3. Coreopsis verticillata, Zagreb, threadleaf tickseed. Mount Cuba Center rated it 4.4 out of 5 in their tickseed trial. Zones 5 through 8. Bright golden yellow daisies, mid-June through late July. Full sun, well-drained, lean soil preferred. 12 to 18 inches apart. Lazy gardener secret. End of July. When the first flush is winding down, shear the entire plant by 1/3 to 1/2. Don't be timid. Water deeply, top dress with a thin layer of compost, and Missouri Botanical Gardens profile confirms you'll get a second flush running from late August through September. In Zone 4, with cool, short summers, that second flush comes in smaller. Hedge accordingly. Pep safe per ASPCA. Number 2. Nepeta racemosa, Walker's Low. Catmint, Royal Horticultural Society Award of Garden Merit. Zones 4 through 8. Lavender blue clouds of bloom from late May through September with a quick shear in midsummer. Full sun to part shade, well drained. 18 to 24 inches apart. Don't fertilize, it'll flop. When the first flush starts to look ratty in early July, give it a brutal shear, 1/2 to 2/3. Cornell Cooperative Extension and Greenhouse Product News both note this triggers a second flush that runs into autumn. 1 regional warning. Walker's Low self-seeds enthusiastically in zones 5 through 7. If you don't want a colony, Deadhead before seed sets. Pet safe per ASPCA. Cats may chew the leaves. Catnip relatives may cause mild stomach upset in some cats, so watch portions. Number 1, and the one I told you to wait for. Geranium Rozanne. Royal Horticultural Society Award of Garden Merit. And here's the badge that matters. RHS Plant of the Centenary, 2013. The highest single honour the Royal Horticultural Society has ever given a garden plant. Zones 5 through 8. Violet-blue petals with white centres, blooming from early June until first frost. That's roughly 4 to 5 months of unbroken colour from one single plant. Full sun gives you the strongest density. Part shade lengthens the season but thins the flush. Spring or fall planting, 18 to 24 inches apart. Lazy gardener secret here is what you don't have to do. Rozanne is a sterile hybrid. It doesn't waste energy on seed production, which is why the bloom window is so long. You can lightly deadhead for a tidier look, but the Royal Horticultural Society and Missouri Botanical Garden both note that shearing isn't required to rebloom. Critical pet safety clarification on screen. Hardy geranium, like Rozanne, is not the same plant as tender pelargonium, the bedding annual that's also called geranium. Pelargonium is listed as toxic to dogs, cats, and horses by ASPCA. Don't confuse the name. The hardy geraniums in this video are pet safe. 5 backbone plants. That gets you the calendar, but the calendar isn't a system yet. 3 lazy levers turn it into one. 3 lazy gardener levers. These are the system layer. Each one applies to specific plants on the list, and I'll tell you when not to apply them, because that's the part most videos skip. Lever 1. Cut hard by 1/3 after the June flush. This works on Nepeta, Salvia, Coreopsis, and even Geranium Rozanne when you want a tidier midsummer look. Mechanism is simple. Removing the top buds drops the auxin hormone, which releases the side buds, and you get a second wave 4 to 8 weeks later in zones 5 through 7. But do not cut peony, bearded iris, or columbine the same way. Those bloom on buds formed the previous season. Cup them after their June flush, and you lose next year's flowers. Save lever 1 for the 4 plants I just named. Lever 2. Never prune in fall. Leave 8 to 24 inches of stem standing through winter. Per the Tufts Pollinator Initiative and the Xerces Society, roughly 30% of native bees in the Northeast nest inside hollow and pithy stems. North Carolina State University's STEM study across about 20 gardens confirmed it. If you cut everything to the ground every October, you erase that habitat. 2 exceptions. Cut peony foliage to the ground in fall. Botrytis blight survives in old leaves, per Missouri Botanical Garden. And cut bearded iris back to 3 to 6 inches and bag the debris. That prevents iris borer eggs and leaf spot. Everything else on this list, leave it standing. Lever 3. Sharp drainage beats heavy watering. A lot of perennials that die over winter in zones 3 and 4 aren't killed by cold air. Soil pathogens like Phytophthora and Pythium thrive in cool, saturated soil. For borderline hardy sun lovers in zones 3 and 4, Build a 4 to 6 inch mound with about 1/3 horticultural grit, sharp sand or crushed granite, 1 to 4 millimeters, and 2/3 soil and compost. Pull mulch back from the crown so water drains fast. 2 exceptions where you relax lever 3 completely. Astilbe and Lobelia cardinalis like wet feet. Plant them in your low damp spot on purpose. They'll thank you. One more piece. Cost per bloom month. $616 a year is the average United States household spend on lawn and garden, per the National Gardening Survey 2023. You don't need to memorize the number, just do the math yourself. Take the local price of one plant, divide by the months it blooms each year, multiply across the 4 to 5 years it lives. Annuals in a typical scenario run about $1.50 to $2.50 per blooming month. Trial-backed perennials run about 20 to 50 cents. Example only, based on local prices, not a national average. Spreadsheet template is in the description. 3 actions you can do today. 0 purchase. 1. Walk your garden and mark 1 Nepeta, Salvia, Coreopsis or Geranium with a calendar reminder. Shear 1/3 first week of July. 2. Identify 1 plant you were planning to cut down this fall and stake a small reminder. Leave 8 to 24 inches standing until spring. 3. Pick 1 low, heavy clay spot in your yard. That's where Astilbe and Lobelia go. Then pick 1 high, well-drained spot. That's where Achillea, Sedum and Salvia belong. Back to the question I asked you at the start. Can a single bed bloom for 5 months in the same spot, while you do less work each year, not more? Yes, Geranium Rozanne alone blooms 4 to 5 months from 1 plant. That's the Royal Horticultural Society's Plant of the Centenary from 2013. Stack it with Walker's Low, Maynite, Zagreb and American Gold Rush, and you've got continuous colour from late May through first frost in zones 5 through 7. Here's what I'd love you to do. Drop 2 things in the comments. Your USDA zone and which plant on this list you'd plant first. I'll reply to the first 20 comments with a personalised 3-lever combo for your zone. Your story helps your neighbours in the same zone find the right combo. 5 months of colour for pennies a month. Your neighbours will ask how. I'll show you what to tell them. That's the Longevity Sister video, Plant Once Perennials that can live up to 100 years. Link in the description. See you there.